Okay, man, we have got one for you tonight. We, we being me, have been recording these for a little while now, which means I've read a lot of boring paper nuggets, and I found a star. Not, no, not like that. But anyway, quick backstory. We started reading these a while back. These are the CIA declassified documents as part of the COVID relief bill. Yes, that is right. We got CIA document release orders included as part of the COVID release bill. I'm not even going there. Anywho, tonight we have two interesting things. The one is real quick. We're going to go ahead and knock that out. I love this one. I need your help. I can't tell which is the intent here. Either one seems pretty dastardly. Contacts, Washington. Reply, case and contacts, Washington 76335. Believe established channels, redacted again, in New York will handle order requests for UFO, factor, fancy, most expeditiously. If we get into these routine film actions, it generally tends to confuse the harmonious, redacted, relationship on film procurement. Now, so generally tends to confuse the harmonious blank relationship on film procurement. What I can't tell there is the intent of what they're working on to build relationships so as to work on being able to procure films when they need them? Or is it to really like slow down the ability of legitimate people, witnesses, getting their story out there through film? I can't tell. I've read it to you. You tell me what you think. That's okay. I'm throwing it away because you know what? One of the reasons the CIA released all these is because nobody cares anyway. But you care. You're here. I appreciate that. All right, part two, and this is the fun part. As I've been digging through all these numerous documents, one name came up a lot across a couple of years, and that's Dr. Leon Davidson. Dr. Leon Davidson's a pretty cool cat. Honestly, let me tell you a little bit about him. He graduated with his PhD in 1951 in chemical engineering at Columbia. He ended up working on the Manhattan Project, which means he saw a lot of disinformation, a lot of good information, a lot of efforts that the military can do. He ended up working on quite a few things. Wikipedia here says that he was an avid thinker and ended up working on follow-up investigations on a few things, including the massacre of Johnstown. Yeah, pretty trippy stuff. This guy he just would see things and just have to think them through. Yep, you guessed it. 1957, he decided to think about UFOs, especially because he had started working at both the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee, and then he moved down to Los Alamos in New Mexico. Yep. And started working on with the Atomic Energy Commission, the Department of Defense, and the Pentagon before moving into the private sector. Again, Wikipedia. Look it up. It's amazing what you can find in Wikipedia that's absolutely astounding that it's out there. Dr. Leon Davidson got his hands on a neat little recording of what he believed to be a space message. A space message. And he happened to know some people at a few particular departments after having worked on the Manhattan Project. Check that guy out. Here you go. From support. Oh, he was a thorn in their side for, oh, you're going to love this. The DCI has received a letter from Leon Davidson, White Plains, New York, requesting information on the recording you received from a bunch of redacted stuff. Davidson refers to some correspondence he had with you and then goes on to ask for agency cooperation in learning what the code message revealed. He indicates that he has recently testified before the House Subcommittee on Government Information and says that his testimony will display his interest in the subject. We are getting copies of this testimony. Meanwhile, you can advise us as to how you got in correspondence, somebody's in trouble, and how he learned that the DCI was the proper person to address his request to. Any background info you have on him will be welcome. Follow-up. 1957. This is next month. This is March. Refer case blank and telecon. What progress has been made? This correspondence is more than a month old. I am afraid the longer we procrastinate, the more fuel we add to the fire. Also, the people at right field are holding their breaths, awaiting advice. Appreciate replies soonest. Right field ended up becoming Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, we found out. But it doesn't matter because most people don't care about any of this stuff anyway. But you do. You do. Here we go. Refer. Flying saucer letter. Davidson case blank copy of ATIC what is that? Air Force Tactical something super cool thing that made really cool airplanes. ATIC. Copy of ATIC letter not received here. I accordingly called Colonel Baird again today. He assures me it has gone out and copy is in mail to me. He says he rather expects further inquiry from Davidson. I am not sure I agree. Colonel Baird was right. This is still 1957. We're still in early we made it to August 1957. All right, I promise we're getting to some cool stuff. Dr. Leon Davidson is back, is on our backs again. He wants verbatim translation of the space message and the identification of the transmitter from which it came. Your attention is called to a letter written to Davidson from Wallace Elwood, captain in the U.S. Air Force, with ATIC, dated 5 August 1957, in which Elwood tells Davidson the message was in identifiable Morse code. That's right. It's Morse code and from a known U.S. licensed radio station. This was intended to satisfy Davidson that he did not, in fact, have a space message. Y'all caught that, right? You get it. I mean, come on. Oh. A message in which Elwood tells Davidson the space message was in identifiable Morse code and from a known U.S. licensed radio station. This was intended to satisfy Davidson that he did not have a space message. He is not satisfied. And explains that the characteristics of the sound on the tape recording of the message are not Morse type. Can you obtain from ATIC the message translation and the transmitter shortly? We'd like to dismiss this man. We'd like to dismiss this man once and for all. If you cannot obtain this information, Davidson is going to pressure us for permission to use Chicago office letterhead and other U.S. government letterhead he has received in this matter in an article for some space magazine. We are sending By buck slip, this date a publication of Davidson's criticizing the Air Force for concealment of information on flying saucers. Incidentally, Davidson is no fool, and it appears that ATIC is treating him as one if they think they can satisfy him with such crap. Like the guys. Anyway, moving on. Next one. Oh, he's still around. We are still in August. It was a busy month for them. On basis of your conversation with ATIC, we informed DCI's office that Davidson would receive a reply. Did you get copy of letter to Davidson, or if not, have you been informed that the letter was in fact written? We would like to close this out with sure knowledge that the letter was written. Thanks. Oh, yeah, we're still going. December 19th, 1957. As we informed your office, there is no translation available, nor is there any record available except for what you know. Davidson has been approached by, oh, look, it's redacted, with ATIC, and the same message was given him again. He asked for it in writing, which blank refused to do. Davidson then said he would write to ATIC. We are all resigned to more letters, but we do not think you should inject your name into the matter. He has already received a couple of letters from ATIC, 2 from the DCI's office, and 2 visits from, redacted. Suggest you simply ignore the letter unless it was registered. If this was the case, please advise. Otherwise, don't do anything about it. This coordinated with redacted and redacted. Yeah. All right. Getting ready to get into the nitty gritty here. Last couple pages. December 20th, 1957. Get a grip on my pages here. Minutes in, still going. We neglected to mention in the previous conversation that our contact with Leon Davidson was person to person. He was in Chicago for a scientific meeting. Davidson explained that he is doing an article for a space magazine. He wants the translation of the message and the emitting station for proving the space message to be a hoax, or he wants permission to picture government letterheads, ours and ATIC's, in his article showing government avoidance of his inquiries. He explained that he had received no satisfactory answer to his request of U.S. and ATIC in nearly a year. Blank, redacted, told Davidson he would communicate with him shortly, supplying the information he requested if possible, or explaining that nothing further could be done. Reply to Davidson's wish to use government letterhead in event he cannot get message translation. Blank advised this would be imprudent and suggested he not do it without the express permission of the agencies concerned. Davidson agreed this was best. The guys, they all play nice. Davidson was calm and pleasant, but very determined. In view of your blah, blah, blah record, we wish to bow out of this thing, but urge that headquarters and ATIC concern themselves with this man and try to satisfy him. We, please do not let us, what is that word? Please do not let us, it's something like break our agreement to communicate with him. We are committed. Very busy people. All right. Well, now we are in January 31st of 58. Dr. Leon Davidson, we are sending you by buck slip a copy of Davidson's latest publication on space saucers entitled The Air Force and the Saucers Part 3. The Central Intelligence Agency becomes involved with saucers. That's a long title. Please note, page 13, visit to the CIA office in Chicago. In this section, Davidson did not withhold blank name because blank asked him to, but because he didn't remember it well enough to risk misspelling. See the address clipped from the outer envelope. The quote, soundproofed conference room, end quote, was a convenient conference room on the first floor of the courthouse used by any court people who wished to go in there. Blank did not, in fact, promise to get the code translation and the identification of the transmitter for Davidson if possible, and in any event, to give him some response within a week or so. Blank did not ask Davidson to keep secret the Chicago CIA location, but advised Davidson not to use CIA letterhead in his forthcoming article, being forwarded under Buck's lip, without first clearing with CIA authorities in Washington. The matter of CIA's Chicago location never came up, and this is smear drama aimed at magazine story appeal. In our telephone conversation on 5 January 1958, something about unreadable and advising it's really not fair, has been dealing with CIA. He be put in touch with blank for further interminable business, and we be relieved of this chore. He is now a chore. This is where it gets good. This is where it gets so good. I mean, I love the other stuff.